Welcome to the Go News Australia podcast. It's the podcast for Australian shooters who just want the political interferers taken out of shooting.
And welcome to another episode of Gun News Australia, brought to you by Politics Reloaded and Gun Traders Australia. And this is an episode that carries a very serious message for West Australian shooters. It's not a message that I really wanted to make, but I have to put this out there. Now, I'm going to be reading from notes because I'm pretty angry about news that has come out of the SSAA, Western Australia, and this is the best way that I can do that in a logical way. You might recall early this year in February, there was a gun rally held in Perth. And that was before the West Australian state election. And that was obviously there because of the what we were seeing come out of the new firearms legislation. And it was a rally that was organised by Shooters Union, and we helped do our bit there. And there was quite a few eminent speakers. It was a good day. It was a good rally. It wasn't fully supported, though, from within the shooting community. And of particular note was the SSAA Western Australia, which through its umbrella body that it's created and it runs, it basically, in other words, it disavowed the rally. It wouldn't participate, even though it was invited to. It wouldn't do the logical thing, which is to speak with the organisers and see maybe if there was common ground and maybe, there was a way that, shooters could unite and make sure their presence was where the presence was really known to Labor in the lead up to that election. But no, they basically cowered. They took the view that they weren't going to be part of it. They tried to, in my view, they tried to dissuade certain people from participating in the rally. Anyway, we moved on. It was a good rally. It was well attended. And I would have thought that maybe they got the message from their own people who thought, no, there was a need for SSAA to stand up and be counted before the election. Certainly, what we've seen since then is the making of grandstanding claims by SSAA that they're the only ones at the table with the government, which is not true. And they just keep sucking the toes of the police minister, pretending that there's no other shooting organisations out there in Western Australia, creating what I think is a misleading picture of, which is what we're seeing also in a couple of other states, including Victoria and Tasmania. And this, by the way, is a video that I'm going to be drawing to the attention of WS Police Minister. So you might be aware that there is a second gun rally. It's a pro-freedom rally, but essentially a pro-gun rally being held on the steps of Parliament House in Perth on the 14th of August. It's organised by a guy called David Finney. Now, David's a good guy. He's worked really hard to try to do what he can for the shooting sports. He worked with Dr. Brian Walker on the motion to suspend the enforcement of the new legislation, while the parliamentary review is doing its bit to basically pick apart the legislation that's in place. And Dave's also is the organiser of the rally on the 14th of August. He's also set up a GoFundMe thing to try to raise money to help get some ads in the papers before the rally's held, and that's going to take a few days to organise. So basically, that fundraiser is pretty much all over now. But and thank you to the very many people who donated, because, as I said, this is actually a good thing for the shooting sports. We want shooters to know about the rally, to get there, be heard, make their displeasure about what Labor has done known to them before Dr. Walker's motion is tabled and dealt with in Parliament. So it's on the 14th of August. Now, what we saw the other day, which is why I'm a little bit annoyed, is this post, which I'll pull up. And what this is a post on a Facebook group put out by the West Australian Firearms Community Alliance, which, as I said, is a SSAA generated umbrella. And I'll read it, particularly for those who are listening to the audio podcast. It's from it says, Sporting Shooters Association of Australia and the West Australian Firearms Community Alliance will continue to be at the table and inside Parliament, not wasting time on the steps. Now, that really got my back up because that is obviously a trying to put the knife into the second gun rally that's being held in Perth for shooters. So this is a leopard that will not change its spots. Their original commentary about the first rally was that they disavow it. It was, in their words, counterproductive and risky. They made all the excuses under the sun just to be difficult about it. They even had this article put in the Farm Weekly. Firearms Community Alliance denounces gun rally protesting law reform, and they go on. Anyway, that's the extent they went to attack the first rally. Now they're attacking the second rally, and I just think that is undermining everything, all the efforts that are being taken in Western Australia to fight for shooters. Understand the rally is a genuine attempt or genuine effort by shooters, including those who are members of the SSAA, to stand up and fix the problems we face. Now, I think there's a fair and realistic expectation that the SSAA would have supported it. They were certainly invited to the first rally, and if they had shut their mouth, maybe they would have been invited to the second rally. They may well have been invited anyway, I'm not sure. But at the very least, what a good shooting organisation would have done is get on the phone to David and say, "Hey, David, we're interested in what you're doing. We think we can help you with X, Y, Z, or we have this other option that we're working on. How can we help you?" That would have been a nice conversation to have. Instead, the conversation under Paul Fitzgerald has been more along the lines of, "Hey, how can we slap you down? How can we try to knock you out of the way because we just love being in the limelight?" That's what SSAA WA is doing. Now, this is a message that points to the very core, as I said, of the problems that shooters have. Not just in Western Australia, but as I said, we're seeing that in other states as well. The problem we face in Western Australia is not with the police minister, it's not with Labor. And look, yeah, they're culpable. We get that. If you let them get away with attacking your part of the community, they will take it and run because it works to their political advantage. No, the problem you've got in Western Australia is the SSAA. If you want to know why we've got the worst gun laws in Australia, that's your answer. In fact, you might even remember hearing about the data leak from the WA police portal, how people were able to get in and get other people's information, and that's being looked at. Fitzgerald seemed to defend the West Australia Police. He said it really wasn't a big deal. I'm sorry, that's the wrong answer, Fitzy. Now you've got laws that require you to basically have a Sherman tank in which to store your firearms. Now, it was never my intention to aim the focus of my ire at SSAA, but on the government. But at the moment, I do not see daylight between the SSAA and the West Australian government. And they seem to be intent on attacking others and slapping down efforts like this to make a difference for shooters in WA. Now, I think in closing, actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly show you a comment which on the Facebook group, which is definitely worth showing. There's a guy called Keith Perry, and I'll read it out again for those who might be listening to the audio version or unable to read it. Can WAFCA avoid making childish, petty comments like the one above in regard to the proposed rally, please? I've had a gutful of reading the jibes going back and forth about 3 different groups that all purport to represent shooters. I can assure you it serves no useful purpose and makes those responsible look like spoiled children to any onlookers. And if you're a member of SSAA West Australia and you're unimpressed by what they're doing and what they're not doing, the fact they are not reaching out and working with other shooting organisations, you need to ask some serious questions of them. Now, being a member of a shooting organisation is important. You're going to need it for genuine reason. You're going to need it for access to ranges. So my advice is that you do have options in many cases. You could, for example, do a simple search for other organisations that do what you want. You could also look at the membership of the West Australian Shooting Association. That's at washooting.org.au. because they've got several members that offer options. But my bottom line is that for those who need to remain members of the SSAA for whatever reason, your president, Paul Fitzgerald, he has to go. Get him voted out. Insist your club at the next AGM, give him the boot. Now, the rally itself, I'm not going to let this go without a plug for the rally that's there. And it's a real opportunity, as I said. So the rally is going to be held the Thursday, the 14th of August. And the flyer, which you may have seen on my previous podcast, is here. It's to do with the motions that are in Parliament, and it's not just about shooting, it's also about the other things that West Australian community has seen. They're talking about the regulation of prospectors, the closure of outdoor areas to recreational shooters. There's a live export ban that affects very much the West Australian economy. And you can see there, Thursday, 14th of August, on the steps of Parliament, starting at 11 a.m. There's the QR code there, which I might just blow up if you want to quickly scan it. But basically, there's all the details that you need to know. So I'll be giving the rally a bit more coverage as more details come to light, but you need to go. Now, I have a special offer for members of the SSAA WA. If you're a member of SSAA, go to the rally with your SSAA shirt, cap, whatever on. And after that, drop me an email at editor@politicsreloaded.com and you'll get a free year's membership for Politics Reloaded, which gives you obviously the access to the discounts to the mouse pads. If you need a mouse pad, we've got the early releases of the episodes, and we've got other content that is for members only. But also it's a symbolic way to send a signal to, because I'll be using this, don't worry about that. I won't be using names, but I'll be using numbers. It's certainly a way to get the membership, the message back to SSAA WA that maybe they got it wrong. I feel better now. So thank you for your time. I'll be back with another episode fairly soon, and I'll see you later. Bye. Well, I hope you enjoyed this episode of Gun News Australia, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you're a supporter through Patreon, you'll get access to early release of the episodes as soon as they're uploaded, as well as the special weekly updates. So to support our work, simply go to patreon.com/politicsreloaded, or use the QR code on the screen, or see the description in this episode for details.